All right, let's start. When we talk about like content matters for shaping social behavior, it means that in my talk, next 15 minutes, probably we're going to talk about content, which is the most interesting part right now for every person who is exposed to entertainment. And definitely we will talk about society, social change, norms, stuff like that. So think about 30 years back, 90s, Bangladesh experienced number of public health issues which was really, really critical to manage. And that management was like experience from global management, which was like very complex, observing other developing countries. So think about what kind of public health concerns that I'm talking about. Early 90s, we were talking about that we will be having a heavy loaded, high populated country. Like right now, we are 180 million population. So we are forecasting a huge size of population. So population size would be a big problem. Immunization for basic disease, preventable disease, was a big problem. And then gradually, HIV/AIDS came up as a global pandemic, which was a great problem. And also, in COVID, the latest version, the global pandemic that we have experienced. So how, as a country, we manage these all public health concerns? We identified critically that these concerns are actually depending on individual behavior. So from that aspect, the behavior change communication stands on. And if I take you through that challenging part, that this behavior change communication program is actually about awareness, is actually about giving knowledge, that knowledge build an instant attitude, and also push the audience to do some practice, and then gradually that practice turns to a behavior. But that thing was not that easy on that time because of this. Because in this world, communication and understanding about communication and also positive communication towards the positive behavior change is a huge complex. So now think about a campaign or a content that you are planning for. Say, for example, you're planning for any social or development content or campaign. First of all, your content will never reach 100% of your expected audience. So think about maximum 80% audience will be exposed to your content or your message. So just because 80%, reach your 80% reach that your content get doesn't mean that everybody understood your content or your message correctly. So it means that 20% lap and 20% lost is always there about the clarity of the message. And also gradually, if you go on and on, you'll identify that those who got exposed to your content or message, not necessarily everybody correctly understand and endorse your message. And those who understand your message, not necessarily everybody agree with your message. Say, for example, I'm giving you an example. Say, for example, you give a message that, okay, for population control, you need to follow a tagline called, whatever, boys or girls, you can take maximum 2 children. So in Bangla, you used to say, chele hok, meye hok, duti shantani jotheshto. So something like that, people understand what you're trying to say. You're talking about, birth control, you're talking about, family planning. So people understand the message, but not necessarily people are agreed to that message. Somebody might think, no, I am rich guy, so I can have 5, 6, 7 children as much as I want. So, as many as I want. So, not necessarily everybody will be agreed on the message. And those who are agreed, not necessarily everybody is going to take an action. So, the ultimate social change, the ultimate behavior change remains very less, which is around 5%. And that's the reason why globally behavior change and social change is getting really, really complex. And to make that content, to make this approach impactful among the community, we had to do a lot of things. We had to use all the possible mediums and medias to mobilize community, to mobilize people. We had to use television. In 90s, there were one television, easy task. Everybody's watching one channel. So whatever the message is coming up, they are watching it. So there are very less newspaper. So whenever you put anything to the newspaper front page, everyone is looking at it. So billboards. So very less communications, but impactful, so that it was quite easy to reach the target audience. And of course, among them, I mean, one of the, and also we did, a lot of community based. So in development sector, we call TFD, Theater for Development, because when you talk about positive changes like disease control and others, it's not likely that the audience is very excited to learn about these things. Most of the cases, this content are boring. And that's the reason why we came up with an idea saying infotainment. It means information with entertainment. And that's where the development, having a marriage with culture, having a marriage with all kind of performing arts. So TFD was one of that. So in the village, you might say that there's a cultural team who had groomed and trained about on the message, and they come up with an interesting story, and they perform it in an open village market so that everybody come together and they look at the drama. They don't know that right now, actually, they're going to have a message about HIV/AIDS, or they're going to have a message about family planning, something like that. So think about that they're watching a drama, they're watching a content, and from that, they're actually learning information. From that, they're getting awareness about their risky behaviors and things to do. So this is how it was operating on those time. But of course, television, the mass media, the big mass media made a major, major difference on that time. Saying that there are issues which has different approaches, where you cannot even rely on the usual tools. Say, for example, this one. So, open urination is one of the major social crises that Bangladesh and also, Southeast Asian countries experience. Not only that, globally there is a different scenario on that. So what happened, I must say that, you see, whenever you see that Bangla text writing somewhere, a kind of a feeling came on that right now you're feeling a pressure in your bladder. So, and that pressure is ultimately mostly, filled by the boys. And boys cannot resist, and they need to go and they need to release that pressure. Something like that happened usually, even if with a text saying that how much fine as per government rule you need to do that. And most of the cases, the users, the pedestrian or whoever, they identify the place, the wall, exactly where that text is posted to do the urination exactly down there. So 10 years back, probably, we had a very interesting, innovative approach with the Ministry of Religion. What we did is that we used the holy language to write the same message in a holy language, and instant action on the behavior. And the instant success on the behavior we have observed. And it was a very bold initiative, out-of-the-box initiative from the Ministry of Religion. But, we see the immediate action, we see the immediate reaction, we see the immediate impact, but that was a kind of a right thing done in a very wrong way, just because most of the population of this country is Muslim, and they respect that particular language, and they exactly can't read, and that's probably the misconception that, okay, something very holy is written there. So the right thing has done through a wrong approach, and it was not sustainable because it was not fit into with the latrine support. Because not just because the person who decided that, okay, I'll not pee down here, they found out any new place to do the same thing. So the problem, the crisis was not solved, or not solved in a way of sustainability. And after that, gradually, we came up with the public toilet approaches, and we try to make that more usable manner so that everybody feel encouraged to do that. Now, jump into the context saying that, yes, I mean, it is really clear that we solved that problem, but there are other problems like this that we are struggling right now at this moment, which we don't have much solutions. And those problems are actually GBV as a large, gender-based violence. I mean, right now, this country is going through one of the highest rate of sexual violence, rape, child marriage, domestic violence in Southeast Asia. And Bangladesh is experiencing that. And when we talk about this kind of social crisis, which has a significant behavioral pattern, definitely you might have heard these two words that we call toxic masculinity or male chauvinism, because all mostly largely done by the men. So now question is, when we have this kind of situation, I mean, we need superheroes. We need good humans as an example. So if you go and ask a young kid, hey guy, who is your superhero? Do you know that a young man or a boy, a kid of Bangladesh can show you the list of superheroes? So look at our superheroes critically. We made superhero who raped his sister-in-law. We make a superhero who killed brother and raped sister-in-law. We make superhero who raped his girlfriend just because he couldn't make it. He couldn't be a successful lover, and try to justify that rape throughout the series. We made superhero who, and when we fantasize, sometimes we think that, oh, okay, it's not only men who can do this, there are also women who has multiple relationships and try to kill almost everybody with fighting, letting them fight to each other. So the toxicity become the prime superpower of our superheroes. So, and also, we have content where there are 10 superheroes killing each others. So our large content that has major impact are like this. If we think about content where we justify, multiple marriages and having relationship out of marriages. A guy who married 9 ladies, and each of the ladies were acting or reacting such as doesn't happen, doesn't matter. It's okay. A guy can do number of marriages. So what we exactly do by this? What we do is that we neutralize, we normalize this sort of male chauvinism, this sort of dominance and confidence that yes, men in this country can do anything and everything. Man can determine, man can decide that whom to rape, or decide how many marriage or how many relationship that he could have. So now, when you say why I'm thinking about generation young kids, because these superheroes are now exactly coming through different elements like comic books, stickers, social media contents to the young generation as superhero the way early 90s we used to see our superheroes. So it's not only commercialization is not only the fantasization of that kind of thing, but also it's something that really getting flooded in the social media for different aspects. So we are promoting cannibalism, we are promoting gender-based violence, rape, murder, this sort of things, just because these contents are so-called sellable. This content are so-called thrilling, exciting, having a lot of views. And we are investing millions of dollars in this kind of bigger content because it produces business. But think about, on the other hand, development organization, partners, international communities, donors, everybody is looking into this global crisis of GBV from a different aspect and investing hundreds of millions of dollars, but in a very traditional way of doing utan boitok, positioning leaflets, doing sessions. But actually, the millions are shaping their minds from the major big content. So your $100 million content, $100 million investment for development sector is not making impact when your big content does. So just think about that when you have 6,000 average rape case per year in the country, when you have 10,000 pending rape case and GBV case in courts for solutions and verdicts, can you really afford it? And remember, seeing is believing. So if we think that, oh, these are all for just entertainment, then again the basic question comes in whether art is for art's sake or art is for life's sake. And if art is for life's sake, can we really afford it? Thank you so much.